Thaís, thank you so much for being, I've said this to a couple of the people I've interviewed now, one of the first of my guinea pigs in carrying out these conversation style interviews. It's something that a lot of the readers have been really keen to hear about and to hear from some researchers beyond PhD or masters as well. So thank you for agreeing to be here today.
Oh, thank you for having me, Alisa. It's a pleasure to be here. Yeah.
So I guess I just wanted to get started, Thaís. So we obviously met when you were spending a little bit of time in Australia. So you were at ANU doing part of your postdoc with Benjamin Schwesinger's group, and you also came to University of Sydney to work with Perry, and she was my supervisor at the time. I don't know in all of that if I ever asked you how you got into plant pathology in the first place. What was that moment or those moments for you that made you want to pursue a career in plant pathology?
Oh, that's a bit of a long story. Okay, so I never was one of these students that know what they want to do. So when the time came that I had to choose an undergrad course, I was not happy with any of the options because all of them seemed too limited. And that's why, that's probably because I didn't knew what I wanted to do by then. At the end, I chose biotechnology. During the first years of the course of the undergrad studies, I was not happy as well, and I was trying to find a way, like a way out. And at some point, I just came across a plant pathology internship with a professor on agronomic sciences. And I was like, yeah, let's try that. And I started there and I never stopped. So it was like a very starting point, a starting project, because I did my undergrad studies in sort of a new campus. So they didn't have much structure at the time. But at the end of the undergraduation, I had the opportunity to came here to the university I'm now to do like the last internship before graduation. So I came here, and as soon as I came here, they had like different sets of laboratories and everything. And then I realized that it would be nice just to keep going with plant pathology. And it happened that the master selection was at the same time I was here. So I did my master. And when I did my master, I realized what I wanted to do, and that would be become a professor. So at that first year of master, I decided, like the rest of my path, and I did the master and then the PhD and then postdoc. And then as soon as I finished the second year of postdoc, I just got a position. That's how that's probably because I was like, that's the reason I was not happy in the first place, because I was not able to identify that my profession in the future would be become a professor. As soon as I realized that, I was in plant pathology and I really enjoyed like this subject, and I'm here since then.
Yeah, so it's always been with, like, from your master's onwards, it was always with the same university.
Yeah, I did my master here, and then during my PhD, I did 6 months abroad in Spain with Professor Michael Tom and Dr. Serenella Sukno lab at the University of Salamanca. And then I came back for the postdoc And then during the postdoc, I did some time in Australia. I spent 4 months with Benjamin Chessinger's group in ANU. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of questions I have out of that as well. So I'm going to sort of start at the start of your journey at undergrad, and it's really interesting. I want to come back to you sort of say you had this goal in mind of being a professor and having that aha moment of that. But were the internships a requirement of the undergraduate studies, or was it something that you chose to do on top of your undergraduate studies?
Yeah, we had to fulfill some hours of internships, but I did much more hours that I had to. So
Yeah.
I think I started in the half of the second year of my undergrad studies and stayed at the same lab until the end of the undergrad studies. So I did some internships, but also like we have a tutoring program for other students. So I was part of that as well in plant pathology. And then the last internship, this is mandatory. So then I came here.
Yeah. And that was at the same time that you applied and started doing your master's. Yeah. Interesting.
Like everything just, when things just become together without much thinking, like everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and it's really interesting to hear you say that, because there's often a lot of pressure to go into a university course as an undergrad and have it all figured out, and you know what you want to be doing long term, and quite often that's not the case. It was the same for me. I didn't have any plant pathology in my undergraduate, and here we are. So what was the pathogen, or what were you working on for masters?
Okay. For masters, I was working on Phytophthora, I don't know how to do this. Capsicum.
Yep.
So I was doing like a very microscopy work on different genotypes of capsicum to try to figure out mechanisms of resistance in different genotypes.
Yeah. And did that lead directly into your PhD, or was your PhD?
No, and then it was like a massive work, and I was like keen to explore different areas over the PhD. And then as soon as I started my PhD, my supervisor, that was Professor Nelson Massola, he approved a big project, a grant, and then they were starting to work with Coletotricum and soybeans. So in this project, they had like parts. They were trying to understand like the interaction of Coletotricum truncatum with soybean using genomic and transcriptomic approaches. And as I mentioned it, I only had experience with histology. So I was like, please let me do that. And the professor was like, you don't have any experience. And I was like, I can learn. I mean, we can learn. I will do my best to learn, because I really want to do something different over the PhD. And then, he accepted. And I started to work with Professor Michael Tone and Serenella's group, along with, now he's a professor at the University of Bologna. It's Professor Riccardo Baroncelli. And we started to work in the system, and we did all the transcriptomics of soybeans and of Coletotricum truncatum and interaction. But over the research, we figured out we had some different species of Coletotricum in the field. So we also did some comparative genomics studies among these different species. And at the end, like I did more than planned, and it was really nice because I had the opportunity to learn different techniques, but also to interact with researchers outside the university. And yeah, it was a challenge, but I really learned a lot during this experience. It was really nice.
Yeah, no, and it's actually a piece of advice I remember you saying to me when you were in Australia. We were discussing what, I was asking you some advice on what to do beyond the PhD, and your advice was to work with a different pathosystem.
Yes.
So I was working with myrtle rust at the time, and you said move into a different pathosystem, and I can understand where that advice has has come from now as well, and it's from your own experience. And it sounds, I mean, how did you how long did it take to convince this professor to take you on for a PhD that you didn't have the skills in? Obviously, you had the knowledge there because you've got background knowledge of plant pathology, but they can be quite specific in the things they're after.
Okay, so this project was approved already with these international partners. So the first plan was that Professor Ricardo would came to Brazil to do the experiments, and then later on we will on my webcam. We will like he will would do the analysis, but at the end he was not able to came, and then we needed someone here to do the biological part mostly, and no one in the group knew how to do it. So I was like, yeah, I can learn, like I want to learn. And it was really challenging, but we learned together with the assistance of the professors abroad. It didn't take long because we had this deadline and we had this project and we needed people. So, and this professor, Nelson, he's like a very nice person, and he's very keen into, if you want to learn, just try something new, you will learn that. I trust you. I mean, he was very encouraging, and I think this was really nice of him, like to trust on me on a new patho system, but also some new methods that no one in the department had done before. So this was, yeah, really nice.
Yeah, no, and I mean it's an interesting point as well, and it touches on something that is I see a lot, is having supportive mentors or having supportive supervisors makes an incredible difference to the whole PhD program as well. Aside from your supervisors, did you have any mentors along the way that you could rely on to ask for any advice, or was it really your supervisors you were leaning on?
Yeah, I had this, I think, first of all my supervisors in Brazil and abroad are very supportive groups. So I think I'm like a very lucky person because I think this made all the difference on my path. But I also had a professor here in the department called Professor Armando Bergamin. He's no longer with us. He just passed. But he was always a mentor for me, like not only in science, but also about how to think about science and how to interact with people and how to think about science in not like in your bubble, but also, expand. And he also taught me how to teach. So over all my master and the PhD, I was with him in the classroom, like following undergrad courses. And this was like something that I don't know if someone else could teach me like how he did. So this was really special.
Yeah, no, you're very very fortunate to have that experience and to meet people like that in your journey as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so from your PhD, was it then another jump into a different pathosystem for your postdoc research? Yeah.
Yeah. I don't like
You like a challenge. That's
yeah,
what I'm getting at this conversation.
I don't like the comfort zone. Like I really enjoy a challenge. And when I finished the PhD, I was like, I need I need to learn something else. And then I jumped into myrtle, that's like a biotrophic pathogen that's on trees, which is like a double challenge. But also I started to work with more into genomics, and we know now that genome of Australopocina cdi is massive and very challenging to work with. But yeah, so this we had this big project ongoing here at the department. That coordinator was Professor Lilian Amorim, and my mentor during the PhD was like part of this project. And I was like, yeah, let's, I mean, if you give me an opportunity, I would like to try a scholarship with this project. And they allowed me. And like one day after I finished the PhD, I started to do the postdoc, unfunded.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I worked like few months without any funding, but then I finally got it. And yeah, it was really challenging again, but as I said, I met like this time Benjamin's group and Perry's group, and this was like another, how could I say, like I learned so much with them, and at the end, I think the challenge it is worth the effort. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I would kind of like to get back to that as well around sort of the challenge being worth, being worth it, because, yeah, I do remember you saying that there has been a lot of challenges and sacrifice along the way as well. And this isn't, it's not something that just happens overnight. It's a very long process. So you were in your postdoc for how many years before you then got into the professor role that you're in now?
2.5 years, sort of. Yeah, a bit less,
Yeah.
like 2 years and
Yeah.
months, more or less.
Yeah. Yeah. That's very impressive.
Yeah, but I'm very focused, so I never had a plan B in my life.
Yeah. Yep.
Even if I didn't knew what I wanted to do, like in the undergrad, as soon as I decided that I would apply for biotechnology, I only applied for that.
Yeah.
And as soon as I decided to work with plant pathology, I only applied to one master position in this subject, and then to one PhD position in this subject. And then I did the same for the postdoc. And that was really challenging because
Mhm.
I was unfunded for 6 months. And then everyone around me was supporting me in the sense like, yeah, we'll get there. But as a concern, everyone was also asking like, and if you don't, what will you do? I
Yeah.
was like, I have 6 months. Like I decided that between PhD and funding for postdoc, I have 6 months and I will not try anything in between. Just give me 6 months and I will got it. If I don't, then I will try something else. But I will not
Yeah.
about that now because I cannot change my focus. So as soon as I got postdoc funded, I was like, I have 3 years tops. If I don't get a permanent position in 3 years, I will think about plan B. After 2 years, like exactly after 2 years funded, like the position opened it and I got it.
Yeah, yeah.
So I never thought about plan B, or I was just in one path and doing everything I had to do to be ready for the opportunity to get a position when it was like appearing for me.
Yeah, yeah. And it's really interesting to hear you say that, because there's probably, for a lot of people, that obviously there's fear and concern that if you don't get something straight away, that you have to start broadening your reach. But it's the opposite of that for yourself. You've remained hyper focused on what that goal was that you had from your master's. Like, okay, I'm going to be a professor, and that's what you work towards. Before I ask you what that was like for you more on a personal level, what was the actual process of applying for that position as professor?
Okay. So the process here in Brazil is very different from other parts on the world, and it's different depending on the university. So here we have to do like a sort of a explained curriculum. So you need to tell your story and why you decided to choose every point of your story, and along with the documents that prove that you had those experiences.
Mhm.
And then you try this position, like most of them ask for master and PhD. Some of them ask some more experience. The one I tried was like master and PhD, and everything you do after this will count on the curriculum. Then it's like a week of process. So people apply. In my case, I don't remember exactly the number, but it was like less than 10 people. People apply, and on the application, they already deliver this document that for me, it took like 2 months to write, and I was writing it while I was in Australia.
Yep.
So it was a very challenging document to write, because you need to go personal, and it's not easy to go personal on your professional choices, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And then you just apply with this document, and then they give you 10 subjects to study. And on the first day of the process, they have like an evaluation committee of 5 people, 5 professors from different universities. And on the first day, they take these 10 initial subjects and pick one subtitle from those that are not known by the applicants.
Right.
So you only know, like, for example, one subject, in my case, would be sustainable management on epidemiology. And then from that, you can have like lots of different paths. And on this first day, they choose one of these paths that you as applicant need to imagine. And then on the first day of the tests, they will let all the candidates let them know what those new 10 subjects are. And then you have 24 hours to prepare. And after 24 hours, you need to do a written test. You have 1 hour to look on your annotations and do like a draft by hand. So you need to print everything, books, and you cannot look anything electronic. It's all printed, or books or material like that. Then you have 1 hour, you just read it down. And then you have other 4 hours to write your test. It's like an essay.
Yeah.
So you write it, and at this same day, all the candidates read the test for for the professors that are evaluating. And then they will give you a grade. So this is eliminatory. So half of the applicants go through the next steps, half are already eliminated.
Right.
So I remember, I think I went to the second part of the test with 4 people.
Yep.
And I was not the first one, like I was the second one. And then next day, they will take these subjects again, and they will select one. So you have 24 hours to prepare a class. That's the second part. And this class needs to be focused on undergrad students. So it's really challenging because most of the time, the subjects are very advanced for undergrads, you know. But then, anyway, they will pick one. You have 24 hours exactly, and then you need to give a class. They evaluate you, and the next day, they will interview you based on the document you deliver in the beginning. So they will ask about all the papers you published, the groups you work with, if you know how the university works, you know all the matters, because here in Brazil we have to do research, teaching, extension, administration, and we need to get money. We need to get funded. So they will interview you on these 5 topics. And then at the end of this same day, they will do a public reading of the candidate that got the position. And that was me.
Yeah, that's a really
It's
intense
exhausting.
process. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
You would have, I mean, there'd
exhausting.
be part excitement and part just, I want to sleep for a week
Yeah.
after getting that news.
Yeah, I got really sick after this because you spend a lot of time, you know, studying.
Yeah.
And then you go through this very intensive week that you don't sleep for a week, you don't eat, because you don't really have time to do that. You know, you sleep like a couple of hours every night, if so. And then you finish that, and then, you know, you go home, you don't even know what's happening because it's like months of preparation. And then, I was on out of the hospital like for weeks after that because like my immunity got down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, speaking of sacrifice for, you know, for a career, you're sacrificing your health essentially to get into this position. Yeah, which is, I mean, it's crazy, but it also sounds like you've had obviously you had a lot of experience that allowed you to get into the position you are, and there's also that ability to just be able to put absolutely everything, all of your energy into that one goal that you were working towards as well. We don't have to talk about this if you're not comfortable, but I would love to know, not even just from a professional level, but more from a personal level, how challenging was not even just going for the professor position, but, you know, all of the moving around, internships or travel internationally as well. How challenging was that for you personally on your relationships or with, you know, being away from family or any of that, if you're open to talking about it, of course.
Sure. Yeah, it was challenging. I mean, I'm from a very small city. We have around 4,000 people living there. So I came here to Piracicaba. That's a bigger city. We have around 500,000, and it's on São Paulo state, you know, near the capital. So the first challenge was to move from a small, very, very small city to here alone. But my family is very supportive. So I'm the first generation of my family that did like an undergraduation, did a PhD. So my parents didn't have these opportunities.
Yep.
But they always were supportive. So with me, and they are like that with my brother. So if we had a dream, they were like, we are supporting you. Like, if it doesn't work, just come back. We will figure it out. But if you want to move to a big city, even if you never had been there before, alone, you can go. I mean, we will be like a phone call away, you know? And it was challenging, but I came here. And I
How
think
old were you at the time? Sorry to jump in. How old were you when you moved?
uh, to when I moved out my parents' home to do undergraduation, I was 16 to
Oh,
17.
wow.
And
Yeah.
then I moved here when I was 21. Yeah.
Yep.
No,
Yep. Yep.
20 years
Yep.
old. Yeah. And then I found my partner on my first year here. And that helped a lot. I mean, I was not
Yeah.
alone anymore.
Yeah.
Uh, and then his family took me in, and it was easier, just, all the process.
Yeah.
And then he moved away to the United States for almost a year. And then I moved to Spain. And then after that, I moved to Australia. And
Mm.
it's very challenging. I mean, you need to sacrifice a lot of your personal life in order to um, grow on your professional life when you choose this academic path. I mean, it's not easy to go through this, and it's not easy to understand that. And if your partner or your family are not in science, it's not easy for them to understand that as well. But it's important if you have someone that supports you. And I always had my family and my partner
Mm.
supporting me. So we agreed, in the terms, and I went there. He went there to visit. He stayed for a month in Australia. When I was in Spain, he stayed like a couple of weeks as well. And things worked out. I mean, you need to find, sometimes people talk much about work-life balance, and I think that's very important. But there are at points like time, sometimes in your life, you need to sacrifice this balance in order to get there later on.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, it was challenging, but we went through everything, and we are still together. We just married. So,
Yeah, I saw some wonderful photos that you put up, which yeah, it looked like you had a beautiful time, and you were surrounded by family as well. It looked like you had an enormous amount of family around, which was really beautiful to see. So that support that you're talking about,
yeah,
yeah, is very obvious.
I think, like, of course, I worked through my path, but it was much easier because I had everyone supporting me, like my family, my partner, but also my supervisors. I
Mm.
always cross my paths with nice people to work with, and I think that makes all the difference. I mean, that's very helpful.
Yeah, yeah, and I think it goes a bit both ways as well. Obviously, you've got tremendous support from your family and from supervisors along the way, but just meeting you for a few weeks, I could see how much effort you put in and how hard you work, and it doesn't. I think sometimes we can't just expect people to put the effort in if we're not willing to do that ourselves, and you put a lot of effort in, and yeah, you're very fortunate that it's reciprocated in the people that you have in your life as well, and it's also that you've got support both professionally and personally,
Yes.
and having those two things, yeah, is really key, I
Yeah.
think. Yeah, to being able to have that success. um yeah, well, thank you Thaís, for sharing that as well, because obviously it's yeah, it's a big part of what we do as well. We're all, you know, we're scientists, but we're humans at the end of the day, and we have lives outside of what we do as well in the day to day. And so I would love to know, now that you are in your professor position, and you have your own lab as well. So what has the focus been of your lab now?
Okay. So I was hired for a new position that opened it here. So this position is called Sustainable Plant Disease Management. So they hired me to start this new research line in the lab, in the department, but also is a new research area like around Brazil. So of course we have people working with sustainable management in different areas, but the focus of the area was like integrate everything. So as a starting point, I need to get funded.
Yeah.
And to get funded, you need to have experience, previous experience. So I started with myrtle, but focused on eucalyptus. So now we are trying to build, to modulate a field microbiome from the phyllosphere on eucalyptus plants, and challenge this community with rust, with ACDI. And over time, we expect to the field community be able to reduce the disease in the lab, and it's working out. So we are funded in this project. We got inspired by a paper we saw in phytobiomes they did on tomatoes. So it's really nice, and it was it has been a challenge. It's not an easy system to work with, you know. But we are focused on these microbiome communities and this modulation of them in interaction with the rust. And then, of course, we want to characterize them later on to try to find core microorganisms that work in different combinations of isolates and species of eucalyptus.
Yeah.
And on the other side, we are working with soybean diseases. So I'm working with two different private companies, one focused on biological control, and we are trying to develop a new isolate of a bacteria that I cannot share yet, but on to control disease of the end cycle of soybeans, like Codinespora. The pathogens are Codinespora, Septoria, and Cercospora.
Yeah. Yep.
And on the other hand, I'm working with a chemical company to figure out the lineages that are around Brazil, the lineages of Codinespora that are around the whole country, and to map like resistance to fungicides. So I believe that we can apply any method of control in a sustainable way. So I'm trying to do the research focused in these different control methods, like the microbiome, biological control, chemical. And slowly I will start in I want to try to understand the interaction of these different methods of control with the microbiome, and how this changes like the environment and the level of the disease in the field.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm working in these different areas. I mean, we are starting. We have 2 years now. The lab has 2 years now, and we are still starting all these projects. And how we walk through it. But the idea I want to defend is that we can use everything in a sustainable way. We just need to know how to use it.
Yeah, yeah. And it sounds like you're taking obviously quite an integrated approach to disease management in the field with using different methodologies. It's a really naive question. Is soybean production quite large in Brazil?
Yeah, we are the biggest producers in the world. Yeah, we
Oh,
are.
wow.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
followed by the United States, and then with like almost half of that, Argentina.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
soybeans are a very big thing here in Brazil. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And so in terms of funding, so it sounds like you said, you've applied for funding based on pathogens and plants that you worked with before. So obviously PhD, you worked on soybean, and then postdoc, you worked on myrtle rust. When you were in this position, was this your first experience in applying for funding, or was that something that you had also done? Like, had you secured any grants throughout your master's or PhD, or was this really your first experience?
Okay, so as part of my big plan of becoming a professor,
I'm imagining this big whiteboard of like Thaís' master plan.
so yeah, I already knew that we had to work in these 5 different areas I told you, like extension, research, getting funded, administration, and teaching. So since I started my master, I tried to go through all of that. Of course,
Yeah.
I didn't, like, as a master student or as a PhD student, I could not get funded myself, But over the postdoc and at the end of the PhD, I helped my supervisor to write the last grants that the lab had over this time. So my experience on getting funded was based on working with him into writing these projects. So I think that's a very important advice, that you need to work more than you're expected to work if you want to get there at some point.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I didn't had any official credit outside my lab about working on these projects, but this really made a difference when I become a professor, because on my first half year of a professor, I already got like project funded.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So this helped. Otherwise, for myself, I only got like the postdoc funding and a couple of undergrad scholarships for scientific initiation. Yeah, that was my credit, but under the, how could I say, without any outside credit, I was working a lot with my previous supervisor, so that made me had experience in how to write a grant, for example.
Yeah, yeah, and I think it's very much a skill that we aren't taught throughout all of our programs as well. We were quite fortunate at University of Sydney. We had a couple of opportunities to apply for some really small pools of funding, and just going through that process was incredibly helpful, because you get a bit of an understanding of the types of questions. But I don't know, maybe it's different in Brazil, but at least in Australia, when we're doing a PhD, we're not really taught any of those soft skills, where, we don't really get taught how to write a grant, how to give a good research presentation, or any of those things. And we usually have to go elsewhere to learn all of that as well. So the same there, by the sounds of things.
It's exactly the same here. Like, if you want to come here, like, and do your PhD, you only will expect it to do like the mandatory credits and do your research, and that's it. I mean, I think that's the difference about focus and knowing what you want to do. So as I knew what I wanted to do, like I was already working, so I was learning how to teach with this amazing professor I had. I was learning how to write for funding with my previous supervisor. I was learning how to do administration during my postdoc because my previous supervisor was allowing me to help him to run the lab. And I think that makes all the difference. But you are not expected to do that. No one will ask you to do that. So you need to, look, can I help on that? And you start to go in these ways, and then you just get much more experience. And I think that's very important if you want to secure a position, like at least an academic one, because then you can train your soft skills. And when I went abroad to work with Professor Benjamin as well, he gave me the opportunity to interact with PhD and master students. And he also gave all the credits to me, and this really nice. And we are still working in collaboration with these myrtle projects. So all these contacts and opportunities you need to take them and try to grow. And as I said, I mean, at the end you will choose what you want to do, right? You can put only the amount of effort that's enough to get your PhD and your postdoc, or you can put more effort and we'll go fast.
No, totally. And it's interesting. So obviously I've had a very similar experience with Benjamin as well, that he is incredibly supportive of early career researchers and will almost, well, he'll allow us to take a bit of a front seat and drive things, and take credit as well for the work that we're doing. And it's people like that that can be very influential in a journey as well. And so I guess my question to you out of that, in having these experiences and now being in a position yourself to be teaching the next generation of plant pathologists, do you see yourself now in that same position, that you have the opportunity to be helping the next generation the way you've been helped as well?
Yeah, I think over my way to here, I learned what I wanted to become, to what I wanted to do, how I wanted to be as a professor. But more importantly, I think I learned by observing how things that I think that I don't want to do. So I'm trying to, I'm very young. I'm just doing that for 2 years. But I'm always trying to be supportive to my students. And I think the most important thing is to be kind. I mean, you can, ask your students and your group to do things. And you can ask this in 2 different ways. And I always go with the philosophy that the kind way is the better one. So I'm trying to do my best on that, and I'm always very clear about the aims of the group with new students and what I'm expecting from them. And like I meet with them every week to try to understand what's happening, how can I help with discussing the results of the research, but also if they need help in some personal life, because most of them are like me, like away from everyone. And I think as a professor, I'm trying to be as more supportive as I can. And I always believe that you don't need to know something. You are here for learning. So, and also as a teacher, mostly for undergrads, that's something I try to apply in my classes, and it's I think I'm having very nice results on that because we have a evaluation at the end of each semester, and that's really nice. Like I try to be in a position that I'm close to the students, not in a position that they respect me because they fear me. So I want them
Yeah,
to
yeah,
because they like me. So I'm trying to work my way. Doing, of course, I'm not doing everything right. I think I'm learning as I'm
yeah,
working, but
yeah.
I'm trying to do my best. Yes.
Yeah, no, well, it sounds like you're building a really good environment for your
Yeah.
lab group as well. How many people are in your lab currently?
I have 4 master students, and I think 5 or 6. I need to count because this week we just received new internships. Uh, five, 5 undergraduation students, but I will have one more graduation one, and we'll have. I'm trying to take one more master and one more PhD from next year. We have
Yeah, yeah,
selections now. Yeah.
yeah.
So
And you
around
said
10 people, 9, 10.
yeah, yeah, no, I mean, in only a couple of years, it's a really nice group that a nice size group that you've put together. And you said that in Brazil, it's really only Portuguese speaking, isn't it? So for any students coming internationally, it's like, is it really feasible for students to be coming internationally for PhDs, or is it
Ah,
quite a challenge?
that's a challenge because all the classes are in Portuguese. So we
Mm,
receive lots of people from South America or
yeah,
Spanish-speaking countries. That's easier because they can adjust easier. Um, if they are from English-speaking countries, we can receive them on PhD. We can receive them for short time experiences. That would be easy because they don't need to do any classes.
yeah, yeah.
And people here speak English, so it's easy to, at least in the academic environment. So
Mm,
we can have them for short-term times. But for doing a complete PhD, I think it's a bit challenging because they will need to know how to speak in Portuguese. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, it's helpful to know because I hope you're open to people reaching out to you after we've popped a bit of
Yeah.
this conversation up, but yeah, obviously it's a consideration as well for anyone considering a PhD or masters internationally in Brazil.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, fantastic. Well, I don't really have much more to say, Thaís, aside from just thanking you for for sharing everything about what you're working on. And it sounds like you've still got some great collaborations going with, at least in the myrtle rust space and now with soybean as well. So I'm
Yeah.
sure we will cross
Yeah.
paths again in the myrtle rust space.
I'm pretty sure. So yeah, that's really nice because the collaborations I built during my PhD and my postdoc are still going on.
Yeah,
So I'm still working. We just wrote a new project. We are waiting for that's on the coordination of Professor Nelson. We are waiting for the response, but we have the collaboration with Professor Riccardo Barancelli from Italy.
yeah,
And yeah, with Benjamin, we are working with Professor Benjamin's group. We are working pretty much on a daily basis on the Mercurus project. So yeah, we just got some new fundings. So yeah, it's really nice to, keep going in these projects. And yeah, it also means that all these groups are good working environments, and yeah, I think that's nice in science.
yeah, and it's quite a nice collaboration actually with the myrtle rust. It's it's a great example of obviously, you know, South America being the centre of origin of the pathogen and it being invasive into Australia. It's a really great example of being able to work collaboratively across those two locations to build some knowledge together. So yeah, it's exciting to see what can come of that. And obviously I'm biased, but there's a lot of interesting work to still be done in that space. So it's, yeah, I'm very happy to hear that those collaborations are still happening.
Yes, yeah. I think we have at least a couple of papers to come out if we figure out how to, you know,
Yeah,
deal with
the time and the story and
yes, genomes,
yeah, no, very exciting. Well, I don't know if you had any sort of ending thoughts that you wanted to share that we might not have touched on, Thaís.
No, I think that's pretty much it. And I just wanted to say that I know that the path in science is challenging, but I believe that if you really have your goal in mind and if you really dream about a career in science, just go for it. At the end, you will need to do lots of sacrifices, personally speaking, professionally speaking. But at the end, I mean, I think it's worth it. If that's your dream, it's worth it. Yeah. So I think that's it.
Yeah, no, well, thank you so much. It's certainly an inspirational journey for me to see, and I'm sure it'll be the same for others as well. So, I'll be back in touch, and if there's any links that we can provide with anyone as well, it'd be great to link to the work that you're doing and your lab group as well, so I can send all of that out to everyone as well.
I will share with you like the lab and like we have some scientific divulgation of the work we are doing. Yeah, I can share with you.
Awesome. Yeah, and you've got an Instagram page actually as well for your group. So,
page and LinkedIn
perfect
page as well. Yeah, I need to be more active there, but
I mean, it sounds like you have enough going on. So I think you can be forgiven for letting the social media slide a little bit. Maybe you can get one of the interns to help a little bit on that side as well.
Yeah, I think so.
Give yourself a break.
Yeah.
No, well, awesome. Thank you so much, Thaís. It's been great to speak to you again, and hopefully one day I can get to Brazil and actually see you in your lab. I'd love that.
Looking forward to it. And thank you for having me here. I think your initiative with how do you pronounce in English? Robigalia?
Yeah, Robigalia. Yeah.
Robigalia. This is really nice. So sharing science and plant pathology with all around the world, as you say, have lots of subscribers now. So it's really special to be here, and more special because we got to know personally a couple of years ago, and it's nice, you know, just to keep in touch with people that we know across the world, and that's very, very nice. And I hope to be there for the conference in 2028, right?
Oh, yes, in Brisbane. Yeah, definitely. Well, yeah, I hope you can get across for it. It should be fantastic. It's a beautiful part of Australia as well. So
yeah, I need to go back there. I mean, Australia is really nice.
Yeah. No, hey, would love to see you if you're here. If I don't see you in Brazil first, that's maybe the plan. All right. Thank you so much. Have a good evening.
You too.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.